All right, everybody, here we go. This will be warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 92 or so there, I think. Wanted to go over some things, again, about the police shooting in Wisconsin and just in general, the whole attitude towards police and everything. You know, we keep hearing about we're hearing about, defund the police and this and that, and that's totally ludicrous. And we hear about, they got to have more training. You got to take away chokehold from them. You got to do this, you got to do that, and everything. We got to have better police. How about this? How about we have better citizens, better human beings? We keep hearing, the cops have to learn this, the cops have to learn that. We need more training for this and that. How about you teach people to act better when they deal with the police? How about that? How about that becomes the standard? Just seen another one of these shows, TMZ, and they're going off. They're not getting into details or anything like that. Then they try and compare some guy, I guess, was up there where one of the riots was going on, and he had a long gun, and people were chasing him. TMZ says, he shot somebody, that's why they were chasing him. Anyway, in the process of him being chased and everything, it shows he gets knocked to the ground, and he fires off a couple shots, and I guess he killed some people. And then they show him, he walks towards the cops who are there. They have their armored car and some squad cars and stuff. He's got his rifle slung. It's pointing down. He's got his hands up. He's walking towards them, and they drive right past him. And the guy from TMZ and this black girl who was on there are like, look at that. Why don't, this is why minorities are pissed. Look, they're not even doing anything to him and all this. He just shot 2 people and all this. Well, those officers there might not have known what was going on. 2, they were probably tasked with going and handling whatever was going on up the street, and probably called other officers to come and deal with this guy. You're comparing apples and oranges. And more information's come out about the guy who was shot there in Wisconsin. He had I forget how you say it, if it's class 3 or whatever, sexual assault charge, which means could be anything. Could have raped a woman, a child, or somebody who was disabled. And that's these days people make false accusations all the time. He could have been a false accusation against him. If not, though, no wonder why he tried to get away from the cops. Also, one of the video clips shows it looks like he has something in his hands like a knife. And before they did shoot him and stuff, there was a scuffle. They did try to take him physically, but he was able to get away from them. And, there was a scuffle and everything. He was able to get out of that, and then he started going for the door. And these people always say, why'd you have to shoot? You didn't have to shoot. You could have took him physically, this and that. Officers are not required to put themselves in jeopardy and take somebody physically all the time. They don't have to do that. The person is supposed to listen to the police. Why is the big effort to make excuses for the people that the cops are dealing with, and not saying, look what this person's doing wrong? If he would have just surrendered, put his hands behind his back, whatever they asked him to do, let them cuff him and stuff, none of this would have happened. And the news media and shows like TMZ, they don't need to bring that up. No one dares bring that up. Hey, why didn't he just do what the cops told him to do? Huh? Is that so far-fetched? Is that taboo or something? Why didn't he just do what the cops told him to do? Why'd he struggle with the cops? And did he have a knife in his hand? Don't know. But of course, the news media is not going to put all the facts out there. They're going to put that little clip, especially social media, is going to put that little clip of just him getting shot. Nothing that happened beforehand. Nothing about they were called there because of him. Nothing about his criminal past. You got to quit playing games with this shit. You really do. You got to quit playing games with this shit. Now, the guy who shot them people and then was walking back towards the cops with his hands up and everything, and they ignored him, like I said, they might have been tasked with going and dealing with something else and called for people to come and deal with this guy. He's got his hands up, number one, and he's looking, because he even goes to one of the patrol cars and it looks like they told him to step back or whatever, and they rolled on towards the rest of the crowd. If somebody is surrendering, even if they have a gun slung over the shoulder, if they're doing what the cop tells them to do, and they don't act in a threatening way, there's no need for them to use violence, all right? You're comparing apples and oranges. The other guy resisted arrest. He didn't put his hands up and say, I surrender, you know. And a lot of people, well, people put their hands up and they still get shot because, well, they're walking away. Or they're walking trying to get into the car. Oh, I got my hands up. Or they're walking towards the officer. Just because you have your hands up doesn't mean you get to walk away. It doesn't mean you get to walk towards the officer and not get shot. You can still be threatening with your hands up. You have to listen to the officer. Is that so hard for people to understand? Is the weed they're selling these days, are they putting something in there to make people especially stupid? And the vaping and stuff, is there something honestly, I gotta honestly ask that. Because all these people, oh, look at that, look what them cops and this, and it's like, are you watching the same thing I'm watching? This guy resisted arrest. He fought with the cops. He was going into his vehicle. Well, they could do this, they could do that. They already tried that. And even if they hadn't, there's nothing saying they have to put themselves in jeopardy and give this guy a chance to get the upper hand on them. Struggle with him. You saw the guy in Atlanta. He got the taser away from the cops. What if he gets a firearm away from the cops and shoots the cops? A police officer does not have to put themselves in that position to where they can be injured or killed, or other citizens can be injured or killed. Oh, there was no need to shoot him. They could let him go and pick them up later. Really? If he resisted the first time, you don't think he's going to resist the second time? If it's somebody with a warrant? Can we all grow up here and knock off the bullshit? And stop taking sides just because of race? Honestly, if you're black, honestly, just look at it. Look at it for real, for what it is. Why didn't he just surrender? He would still, I don't know if he's passed away, he's paralyzed, is the last bit of information. But he wouldn't have been shot, would he? If the kid in Ferguson would have just complied, he wouldn't have been shot. But no, he attacked the cop. If George Floyd would have been honest with those cops and said, hey man, I took too much fentanyl and meth and stuff, I'm really freaking out, maybe he'd still be alive. Maybe if he didn't resist, he'd still be alive. Police officers can only do so much, and you keep all saying, oh, we got to train the cops better. Why don't you do this? Teach your children when they're growing up to be decent human beings, not to be belligerent when they deal with the police. 99% of the population in this country shouldn't say probably 95, go through their whole entire lives without ever having police interactions other than maybe traffic stops. And then there's this percentage that can't seem to get through life because they got to be a gangster. They got to be badass. They got to handle everything with some kind of violence or showing how tough they are. It's like, oh, guys, well, why can't they man up? Why they got to carry guns and shit? What freaking planet do you live on, man? Not everybody deals with things the way you think, that's the way it should be. That's the way you deal with things around people you hang with, man. I'll fuck you up, man. Over bullshit. All the drama you got in your life. Bullshit. Grow the hell up, man. And you people on these TV shows, TMZ, other things, LeBron James, grow the hell up, would you? Quit playing fucking games. All you're going to do is encourage people to do something stupid and end up getting hurt or killed. That's all you're doing. By not being real. Ain't that what everyone always says? You got to be real. Let's be real, man. Well, let's be real. If you're a dumb fuck and you do the shit half these people are doing, expect to get shot, okay? Is that real enough for you? Is that freaking real enough for you? You have to listen to the police. Period. They have the authority. When an officer is there, you have to listen to him, whether you like it or not. And that's what let's really get down to it there. You don't want to listen to no freaking white cop telling you what to do. Is that it? Is that what it's all about? What's it all about, man? Explain it to me. Explain it to me why when an officer comes up and says, stand still, stand over there, don't put your hands in your pockets. That you can't do it. When an officer pulls somebody over and asks them for their driver's license, and you got to go through this whole bunch of shit. Take your friggin' ticket. 9 times out of 10, you did speed or you did not stop for a stop sign. Whatever it is, the cops aren't going to pull you over for no friggin' reason. Like I said, most cops would rather not have to go on any calls. You know why? Because that means people are getting along. Things are peaceful. There's not a bunch of assholes on the loose. Assholes that can't get along with the rest of society for some friggin' reason. To have to get all fucked up and go do something stupid. Or even not being fucked up and go do something stupid like rob somebody or carjack somebody or do whatever, get in a fight with their girlfriend, make a big scene out in the street, whatever the hell it is. Officers would much rather have no calls at all. Because that means there's well-balanced people out there who are handling their business and getting through life without causing problems for themselves or for other people. That means there's no assholes on the loose. You think you're making a statement, being badass and all this and everything, and you're not going to go down without a fight against the cops and everything. That's something to use. That's something to your homies and all this. All you're doing is looking like a fool. Do you understand that? You're looking like a fool because you're going to go down one way or the other. It's a no-win situation for you. If the officer says, I'm placing you under arrest, resisting's only going to make it worse. Even if you got a warrant and everything, let me see. It's bad enough I get a warrant. Let me assault the police officer on top of it. You're a freaking idiot. Can people drive this home to their kids? Can these people, instead of getting up with the lawyers in front of the TV cameras and pissing and moaning about, what happened and all this thing, can you take a little self-responsibility? Can you teach your children, hey, don't be stupid, don't resist a cop? So I wanted to get that out of my system because it just really irks me that nobody, hardly anybody out there is going to these people on the, whether it's the daytime morning news shows and this, and, you know, the people who are plastering LeBron James and everything. And you want to say to LeBron, hey, if he would have done what the cops told him, would he have got shot? Hey, LeBron, why didn't that guy do what the cops told him? What the hell are you talking about, LeBron? Why didn't he do what the cops told him to do? Would he have gotten shot if he listened to the cops, LeBron? No, you just let these people flap their gums and you don't call them on anything. They've got you fucking trained, brain trained. And they're trying to brain train you right into not having any law enforcement and people being able to live above the law because all they're going to do is scream racism. And if you don't stand up to it and if people don't start teaching their kids right, no matter what color they are, that they have to listen to the cops, then this country's going to be in real trouble down the road. You might as well put your hand on the handle and get ready to flush. Because without law and order and without people teaching their children how to act properly and be a part of society, you can kiss it all goodbye. It's not the law of the jungle. It's not, I get to go out and do whatever the hell I want to do, and I don't have to answer to anybody. I can go out here and you scream in oppression. Well, is it oppression because you're being arrested because you dealt drugs? Or because you have a warrant for arrest for rape? That's not oppression. I'm sorry to inform you. Just because you're not getting to live your life as wild as you think you should be able to, that's not oppression. Sorry, Charlie. The police arresting you for crimes you committed or trying to get you to keep you from hurting somebody or something, that's not oppression. Sorry. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. It's time to cut the bullshit. And for people to just start saying, we're not listening to your bullshit. We're not putting up with you rioting and burning shit down. Why can't these cops and stuff get there quicker and start taking people down before they get to go on a looting and burning spree? Why can't they make a show of force and say, that's it, we're not putting up with it no more. That's it, we're not putting up with it. Because I'm telling you, going back and forth across the country here, you wouldn't know it from watching the news media, but there are a slew of people who are fed up and are tired of it, and it's boiling. And if the politicians want to keep playing games and not putting their foot down and saying enough is enough, sooner or later the people of this country will. And there ain't going to be no place for you quote unquote peaceful protesters and the politicians who support you to hide. And I'm just telling you that from the observations I've made out here, listening to people the way they talk. They are fed up. Every single freaking time that somebody posts some bullshit on social media or a news channel or TMZ, runs a fucking story, neighborhoods are burning down. You're inciting people to violence because you're not telling the truth and you're not pointing out the facts. Hey, just do what the cop tells you and none of this shit would happen. Screw you, TMZ. So other than that, there were some things I was thinking about taxes and, people talking about they want. I've gone over before about like medical and this and that everybody needs to pay towards their own expenses in life. That there's nothing free. Here's why I think these politicians are supporting all this kind of crap and this lawlessness. It's because they're a bunch of thieves themselves. When you roll out of bed in the morning to go to work at whatever job you have, whether you like it or it's a big piece of crap job and you hate it and you can't stand it, they think you're rolling out of bed so you can go make money to give to them. That's why they want you to get out of bed and go to work, so you can make money, give it to them, and then they can give it to all their social little programs and give it to people who don't work and don't contribute to society. Is that the reason you roll out of bed every morning? So the politicians can just say, hey, we're going to take whatever we want out of your paycheck? Wouldn't you rather much every time you rolled out of bed know you're going to work and it's to benefit your family and your future? Instead of having, I think they said the first third of the year we work just to pay our taxes for those of us who do work. And then you try and go and get some kind of benefit or something, you're told you make too much money. Well, here's a clue, Congress. Quit taking my money, and I wouldn't need to go and get some benefit from the government. I'd pay my own way. But no, you want to rob from me to give to somebody else who could give a shit less, who's going to get high and eat Twinkies for half his fucking life, or her life, and plop out kids. And that's another thing about taxes. You want free education? It's the same thing with medical. What are we going to pay for? What are we not going to pay for? You're going to pay for some $1 million operation for somebody who's 80 years old and might give them another 6 months or a year of life? Well, it's the same thing. How much education are we going to make free? And college tuition are we going to pay for somebody to go get a BSBA that they're never ever going to be able to use in real life working? When we'd be better off, trade schools, welding, whatever, auto mechanics, practical things, engineering, stuff like that. Instead of having a whole bunch of people with all kinds of degrees that there is no market for in our society. I can see paying for, people going into law enforcement, when I'm wearing law, medical stuff, all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of friggin' degrees out there that are all bullshit. That very few people are going to be able to find a career with. So we got to iron all that out. But here's the thing. Right now under tax code and everything, right? If you're married, you're getting a tax break. You have a deduction. Then if you have children, you're getting more of a deduction. Now, the money's going opposite here. All right, you have a kid, so you give the people a break on the taxes, all right? And then you want to add free education. Wait a minute. Now you're doubling down and going to the negative. Why not take away that deduction for the kid, and then just a part of what income taxes are, that extra revenue goes into a fund to pay for education? Or, like with other things I said, people are going to have an account and automatically direct deposited in their accounts. A set percentage will go towards their retirement, to their burial, to their medical account. What if you have one, as soon as somebody has a baby, boom, you got to add your child's education. 2% of what you make will go into an account for your child's education. How about that? Because schools and teachers and all that, even in the public school system, you're giving people with children tax deductions, but then you're giving those kids, even the public education, they're getting an education. The teachers, the schools, the busing, the food, everything has to be paid for. But it's like, well, the people who had the kid, who the kid that's getting all that, they're not paying that kid's way because they're getting a tax deduction for the kid. So I think we need to look in flat taxes or just set rates and look at the things we want to fund and how we can fund them. Like I said, tons of taxes on cigarettes. Where do they go? Why don't we just make sure they all go into heart and lung, cancer research, medical stuff, that part of the National Medical Program, that we'll have. Same thing at alcohol, liver, heart, brain disorders. Same. Now you got legalized drugs. All those taxes go in for brain and respiratory treatments in the medical program, something, or to just the general medical program. Because it's like we pay fuel taxes and stuff that supposedly is supposed to all go to the roads and stuff, but I think they're skimming that and not spending everything they should be on the highways. So the point is, Congress just, hey, get out of bed and go to work so we can take more of your money. Think about it. Is that why you get out of bed and go to work every day? So you can pay the friggin' government? Isn't it supposed to be that you go to work every day to take care of your family and give them the things they need in life? And you got the government taking by force or under threat of force your hard-earned, hard-earned money. See, I think you all ought to be more upset about that than you are about these cops. That's what I think you ought to be upset about. Is the runaway government, the runaway Congress that just does all kinds of stuff, never really getting permission from the people, just taxing us all over, and then in our states and everything, getting taxed, sales taxes, this and that, all kinds of stuff. They try and make it a class warfare between the rich and the poor. Oh, tax them more and all this and everything. Well, wait a minute. Why don't we bring all the taxes down? And then why don't we take a look at all these deductions we give out? And then why don't we take a look at all the money we ship overseas? And why don't we take a look at all the money we dump into welfare and stuff for people? I mean, so suppose you're some bozo that spends 20 years of your life in and out of jail and all this and everything, never contributing to your own Social Security and all that. Do those people collect Social Security? I'm curious. And how is all that figured? Because I don't think hardly anybody puts in as much as what they're going to get back monthly once they retire. So, I want to look into and study and see how all these funds and things like this work. Because I think if we were to sit down and crunch numbers and say, hey, let's try this or whatever, and set up something, and then let things balance out a little bit and get a better view of the situation. Like I say, you can't pull the rug out from underneath. We'll make some changes here, a percent there, whatever. Get rid of this, increase that, reduce that. Because look, you're getting tax deductions for your kids, as dependents and stuff. But what about the regular rate before that? All they do is raise taxes somewhere else to make up for it. So let's look at and get rid of all the shit and just say, look here, this is the way it's going to be. When you work, X amount's coming out, it's going into this fund for you, and X amount's going into Social Security, X amount's going into this, and that for every single person, percent, done deal, write it in stone. Sorry, Congress, you don't get any more. Sorry, states, you don't get to keep raising sales taxes. This is the way it's going to be. We're going to make it a level, fair playing ground for everybody. And then, point it out to people as they're growing up, there's two paths in front of you. You can take one where you have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and you can be a productive part of society, and you can live a good life, take care of yourself, and take care of your family. Pursue the things that you want to pursue in life. Or you can choose, I'm going to be a gangster. I'm going to deal drugs. I'm going to be on the opposite side of the law. I'm going to be in and out of jail. Or you can choose that horse shit and never putting any money away for your future or anything like that, and then just depending on society to take care of you, whether you're in prison or out of prison, and your kids who will no doubt be on welfare and food stamps because you're not providing for them because you're in jail. We're going to make living a good life and a proper life so appealing and plain to see that, look, this is the way to go. We're going to teach it to them in school. This is the way to go. If you choose the other way, no one's going to cry for you no more. No one is going to cry for you no more. It's not rocket science. You got two choices. You want to choose a life of being a dipshit and then out of jail and prison and messing up your mind with drugs and alcohol, or you can go live a decent life, work, raise a family, do all the normal things that families do, people do, pursue the interests that they want, instead of being a psychopath, running the streets in and out of jail, threatening people, trying to prove how tough you are, and all that other crap that goes with it. You choose. America, you choose. All right, wish you all the best out there. Be careful. God bless. We'll see you on the next one. Adios.